Happy St. Patrick's Day, a day where people go out drinking, have fun, wear green, and in my case, watch at least one Leprechaun movie. This is Vic Azim, and I'm here to talk about how to continue the Leprechaun series. Now, in terms of the original series, if you have to watch one of them, I recommend on St. Patrick's Day watching Leprechaun 3. He's gambling, he's at the casino, he's meeting up with Elvis, he's having fun, having a great time. It has fun kills, fun protagonists to follow, it has fun human villains, good death scenes. It's just the best representation of Leprechaun. In terms of which one to avoid, there's only one that I would say no matter what you do not find yourself watching this movie, and that would be Leprechaun Origins. This is probably one of the worst movies of all time. I've seen some of the Children of the Corn sequels. This one tops even those, in my opinion. I don't really count this as part of the Leprechaun series. I have the box set. I threw the disc out. I don't count it. There's a good possibility that if Jigsaw ever catches me and ties me up, the game he's going to have me playing is me sitting in a chair watching Leprechaun Origins on repeat. Do not watch Leprechaun Origins. The last Leprechaun movie was Leprechaun Returns from 2018. I don't have any real issue with that movie. Even though it didn't have Warwick Davis, the new Leprechaun did a pretty good job. And also, I would say that it had some good death scenes. They basically went the Halloween method in terms of having this be a direct sequel to the first movie, which I don't know if the first Leprechaun movie is enough of a classic for it to really make sense to tie to the first movie, but it was an interesting direction to go in, and they did a pretty good job with that movie. Here we are 5 years later, there's been no follow-up, and I haven't heard any news of a follow-up, so being St. Patrick's Day got me thinking, what can we do to continue the Leprechaun series? Because everything's a reboot or a requel or a sequel or a TV show. All the horror icons from the 80s and 90s seem to be getting some kind of follow-up these days, and I don't want our little green friend to be left behind. So, what do you do with Leprechaun? He's been to Las Vegas. He's been to space. He's been to the hood. He's been back to the hood. So where does he go next? I've seen some ideas online. There's been some speculation. A lot of people will say, hey, let's take him to the Wild Wild West. I think that would actually be pretty cool. I've seen others suggest that they should put him on an Indian reservation, a la the new Predator movie Prey, and again, I'm down. What would I want personally? I would actually like to kind of scale it back and just go back to the basics. This may sound unoriginal, but just give me a leprechaun who's chasing a group of characters who have stolen from his pot of gold as he tries to reclaim his money and kill some people along the way in creative and inventive ways. I don't need much more than that. I say scale it back and go back to the basics. The Leprechaun timeline is all over the place because they established in the original series that each movie actually has a different leprechaun. It's always a different leprechaun who's going on a different adventure. So there's real no continuity that you have to follow there. I mean, you really don't have to do anything other than just start fresh, start in modern times, modern day. For me, I say have it take place in a big urban city on St. Patrick's Day. Let's really lean to the St. Patrick's Day theme. Leprechaun in the city, chasing a group of characters, looking for his gold. Use the city setting. We've seen Jason take Manhattan. We've seen Ghostface take Manhattan. Let's throw a Leprechaun there also. Why not? There are a few specific things I'd want to see in a new Leprechaun movie. Number one, I would like a meta moment where Leprechaun sees Jennifer Aniston on TV and says, oh, something about her looks familiar. I know it's corny, it's a silly inside meta joke, and it maybe doesn't even make sense if it's actually a different Leprechaun than the one that was in the first movie, but damn it, I don't know. I think it'd be fun. Hell, maybe even try to get Jennifer Aniston to do a small cameo. I mean, we saw Johnny Depp come back in Freddy's Dead. It's a possibility, I'm just saying, it'd be a fun little thing to see that. Number two, I'd like to have something where Leprechaun interacts with a victim and something about Bitcoin comes up. This might date the movie in the future and only makes sense in today's moment. I don't know. Something where Leprechaun's looking for his coins and the victim is big on Bitcoins and thinks the Leprechaun wants his Bitcoins and have some confusion and fun there before Leprechaun finally kills him. Number three, the big thing that I think would sell everybody on a Leprechaun movie going forward is easily the return of Warwick Davis. Now, there's some horror icons who wear masks and who you can hire a stuntman or keep finding different actors to replace them. But Leprechaun, is more in that mold of Freddy Krueger, where it's very hard to separate the performance of the actor from the character. Leprechaun is Warwick Davis. Warwick Davis is Leprechaun in most of the fans' eyes. Now, that's not to say that the actor in Leprechaun Returns did a bad job. He actually was a great fill-in. But in terms of iconic, in terms of the mannerisms, the voice delivery, the Leprechaun we all know and love, we want Warwick Davis back, and it is a possibility. The last Leprechaun movie that Warwick Davis did was actually back in 2003, Leprechaun Back of the Hood, his final appearance. He's been gone since then doing other things. I tried to find online if there was any kind of reference to was he open to coming back with the series or, was he just done with it? And there was an article back from 2018 when Leprechaun Returns came out. And I'm going to show you a piece of that. In this article, Warwick Davis says that, once his kids are older, he may be open to actually returning to horror. He didn't give a, I'm done with this forever or a definitive never again. It sounds like he might be open to. Now, that article was from 2018, and a little bit further in the article, it actually gives his kid's age, and his youngest at the time was 15, so he should actually be 20 years old now. So both his kids are essentially adults, and maybe Warwick Davis will be open to the idea of doing horror again. The other thing that caught my eye just the other day was that he had the Willow TV show on Disney Plus that ran for one season and was just announced it was canceled. So hey, maybe his schedule's opening up also. Maybe the stars are aligning perfectly for our little green guy to be Warwick Davis again, which would be excellent. Kind of where I would like to see the franchise go, and is back to the basics. Give me a fun Leprechaun movie. I want some of those one-liners again. I'd like him to have some fun rhymes. The Leprechaun movies are bad, and they know they're bad, and they lean into knowing they're bad, and the tone as a serious movie never quite works, so you should lean into the cheese here and just give us a straight horror comedy, and especially with Warwick Davis, who usually has the most hilarious line delivery, really, of any horror icon outside of Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. Get back to the basics, bring back Warwick Davis, get back to a horror comedy tone, have the plot very simple. We just need Leprechaun chasing people, trying to get back his gold, because we all know you should never take a leprechaun's gold. Let me know down in the comments, what would you like to see in a new Leprechaun movie? And hopefully we'll see a new Leprechaun movie much sooner than later.